Welcome to Tea Time. Good morning. I'm so happy that you guys are here. It is Saturday morning. This is Stacy Hines, and we are ready to have our tea. You guys know I use this hack of covering my cup. When I'm steeping my tea, I cover my cup with saran wrap, and it makes it just all that more delicious. Anyhow, guys, I am so looking forward to our little chat this morning as we have our tea, coffee, hot chocolate, whatever it is you're drinking, because it's actually a preview to the conversation that I'm going to be having tomorrow when I go to Stush in the Bush. So, for those of you that may not follow me on Instagram, or maybe you do, I'm going to be hosting a wellness brunch tomorrow at Stush in the Bush. And guys, can I tell you, this is long overdue. I literally have been planning to do something at Stush in the Bush since 2019 when my intention cards first came out. Can you believe that? But you know what? Nothing before its time and nothing before you are absolutely ready to step into your next level of greatness. Because clearly, it's not that I didn't have opportunities. I mean, clearly, I have the partnership available. I have, a really good relationship with the Stush owners, and they just have created such a wonderful experience. I don't If you don't know about Stush in the Bush, it is located here in Jamaica in the parish of Saint Anne, and it is a beautiful setup. They do a farm to table, and it is quite Stush. I mean, this is like how you would say now, fancy meets farm. Yes, that's literally what this is. So if you've never been to Stush in the Bush, you definitely want to check it out. She's actually going to be a bit closed, I think, if I remember correctly. So this event is really special, and I'm so excited about it. We're going to be doing a lot of really cool things to allow people to just have peace of mind and connect with themselves and just get back to themselves. I think we spend so much time going, and we're taking care of this one and we're taking care of that one, that we just don't spend enough time being with ourselves, just being calm and easy and having peace of mind, not fussing, fighting with other people. So tomorrow is all about connecting with yourself, about having some peace of mind, you know, stepping away from your regular environment and going onto a nice farm. I'm gonna say the farm bad, the farm nice. And aside from that, we're going to do a tree planting. Have you ever planted a tree or anything? It's just such a nice thing to experience when you're intentional about it, because you recognize that you are furthering the life of Earth. Like, these are the things, I don't know. I think that as Jamaicans, it's something that we really should be more willing to experience, because it's just nice. There's just nothing that connects you to yourself more than nature, honestly. I really feel like there's something special about just taking time to just hold a meds in your surroundings, sit by a tree, sit under a tree, sit by a river, sit by the water, sit by the ocean, not go for just floss and have on your swimsuit and all the things, but just to be with yourself and to be with your thoughts. So I'm excited. A lot of people are on the wait list. We sold out like that. It was really, really surprising how quickly we sold out. So I'm actually wondering what's going to happen with all the people on the wait list. There's a lot of people on the wait list. So I have to figure that out. But what I wanted to do was, for those of you that actually follow me on TikTok, on YouTube, and on IG, I wanted to give a little sneak peek of one of the things I'm going to be talking about, because ultimately, anytime I do a retreat or a brunch or any kind of talk or speech, it is always about living your best life, and all about how to manage yourself when all of the stress and anxiety, usually from other people, how to manage yourself when all of that is happening. And so that's why we have tea, because we're going to have some tea this morning, and we're going to talk about who is running your life really. That causes a lot of stress in people. A lot of times people aren't aware that they are not the persons running their lives. They're not aware of it. They think they're running their lives, but you're feeling so much misery and you're complaining so much and you're criticizing everything. You're having all kind of what people would say is bad luck. Things just now go well. So the question I have that I thought about was who is running your life? And some of these principles are the principles that I teach whenever we have a gathering. So grab your tea and let's get going. Or your coffee. If you're a coffee drinker, grab your coffee and just take a moment for yourself, right? Take a moment for yourself. This morning, I am having ginger, lemon, and honey tea. And everything is from Jamaica, which is the cool part. The honey is made here in Jamaica. The ginger is the Kendall dried ginger, right? I buy those packs. And the lime is from a farm in Jamaica. I just love that when I'm on this island, when I'm in Jamaica, that I'm representing because we love foreign things too much. I don't know what that is about us Jamaican people. And I can't talk because me did love foreign so much. I live there most of my life. I just moved. But anyway, we love foreign things too much and we don't invest in our stuff. So I'm just letting y'all know that I am making an extra effort, especially this year, to invest in Jamaica. Definitely invest in Jamaica. So that's what I'm having for tea. What are you guys having? I can drop in the chat. This is good. Okay. So who is running your life, really? We don't pay attention enough to all the different elements that make up our life. We don't pay enough attention to the different forces or things that affect us. Especially when you're from the Caribbean region, Jamaica in particular is very religious. And so what tends to happen is you will hear a lot of people talking about when things go wrong in your life, are the devil, you know, you know, live good, you know, holy. Like you'll hear those kinds of conversations. And so a lot of times people feel an incredible amount of guilt, which I think is the whole idea, right? So you feel guilty enough so that you will follow a particular religious train of thought or set of religious practices that whichever church it is might dole out, right? But I think at the end of the day, it's less about, succumbing to the thoughts that the things that are ruining or running your life or causing you to have bad luck is don't have nothing to do with you, and you don't have any way to control it or to affect it or to have a different experience. It's almost like you just have to take it. You just have to take what you get. Some of us, we spend a lot of time blaming other people for our lives not going well. And we don't realize that it's because we don't really know who is running our life. We're not clear on it. And when you think about that and you think about the different things that affect everybody, because the truth of the matter is, guys, life is life in for everybody. It's a life for you, right? It is life in for me, even though I teach these principles. It is life in for me. Every day is not sunny and rosy and I have it all together. As a matter of fact, I've literally been having to talk to myself because I've been just having a lot of days where my emotional state is running my life and I'm just all over the place. So I just want to make it clear to you that your life can seem like something else is running it. Is it your emotions? Is it your mind that's running your life? Or is it something deeper? Sometimes you feel like is your parents, even though you're a grown up, is your parents still running your life? Is your pastor? running your life? Because some of y'all, don't know how to make decisions for yourself. If it don't say you must do it when you go church service, it does not get done because you didn't get the message. You know who I'm talking to. So, what is it really that is in control of your life and why you feel like things just not going right for you, things just not going well for you, and you're just so busy running around and consuming all of this content that doesn't actually help you to become more responsible and more in control of how your life is turning out. Okay? So if your emotions are running your life, if you have other people, your woman, knows enough for you guys out there, a woman running in life. Okay? And if it's not a person, an external person, is it your emotions or is it your mind? And more importantly, how do you get to create better control over this? So I think the first thing that you have to understand is the actual problem. Because you might think, yeah, man, because of the person, I just need to get rid of them. That's usually the first thing we think about. We think that we need to get rid of the person that we feel is causing us problems, right? That's not always the answer, right? So we have to start off by identifying what is the problem that we are looking at. The problem that you're looking at is where the suffering or the upset or the challenges that you have inside, like when your mind starts to really go crazy talking about all the things that are not right in your life, that's what it is. It's, we have to start with that question of why do we experience so much pain and so much suffering when I'm running my day-to-day life and I feel like I should be doing better. I feel like I should have gotten further. Why do we get stuck? Why do we feel overwhelmed? You know, and how do I shift the way that I react? Because for many of you, you actually don't want to be in upset mode all the time. I think that there's a mistake that's made when people see people join, creating gangs or choosing to be violent. I don't think it's because them just wake up one day and decide, yeah, this is exactly how I want to be. I think it's because they're feeling pain and suffering in their life. Their lives are being run by people outside of them, or the emotions that they're feeling or the thoughts that their mind is pushing out. And they don't know how to respond. They don't know how to control it. All they know is the stress that they're feeling, and them just don't know what to do except to lash out, either through violence or through being just miserable all the time. So think about it. How often do we let our emotions make decisions for us? How many times do we overthink something or get into a state of analysis paralysis? It's like you're thinking about the thing so much you're not doing nothing. And it oftentimes happens when you're under pressure, when you have a problem. Some of us will have a problem and we talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, but don't actually do anything about it. You might be experiencing that in your relationships right now, where you have a problem and you keep coming back to the problem. You keep circling back. Every time you argue, you're arguing about the same thing. And how much energy do you waste in that spiral of just going back and forth with somebody arguing over and over about the same thing? And then now, after you argue with the person about the same thing, then you find yourself just talking to yourself about arguing about the same thing. So it's like a double whammy. You finish the argument and then you're talking to yourself about how you're always arguing. Right? So in those instances, it's actually your emotions that are running your life in that moment, because it's not you. You are literally the person that is sat inside in the middle of all of that suffering. Your mind and your emotions are the ones in charge when you see your mind just taking you down a road and you just hear yourself complaining. And sometimes, guys, We're going through that motion because we're just not accepting what is, you know? So if you feel like life is running you instead of you are running life, then I think it's time for you to take charge. I think it's time for you to decide that you are no longer going to be dealing with all of the drama and the stress that comes with your emotions or your mind running your life. And I'm going to give you a couple of ways that you can figure out who's in charge of your life right now. So, your emotions dictate your decisions. This is one that is really powerful to understand, right? If your emotions, anger, like when you're upset, fear, doubt, anxiety, are constantly calling the shots in your life, then you're living in reaction mode. And what reaction mode means is that as soon as somebody press a button, you know, in an argument, press a button now. As soon as somebody presses a button, says something that you don't like, does something that you don't like, you just find that you are off to the races. This means that you are making choices that are not based on what's truly best for you or sometimes the person, especially if you have children, but based on how you feel in that moment. So I'll give you an example from my own life, right? Whenever I have the experience, or when I was probably earlier in my parenting, definitely when you're parenting teenagers are going to have their own way of wanting to do things. They're at that age and stage where they're finding themselves and they're becoming more self-reliant. They want that independence. And a lot of times, especially as Jamaican parents, we're like, in the who? You're paying your bills? Who for roof you live under? Right? We'll go into that mode. And what happens is the teenager is inevitably, the teenager the teenager is inevitably going to be doing something that you are not going to be in alignment with. And when I say in alignment, what I mean is for most of the teenage years, we're talking it could start as early as 13. So all the way from 13 to 18 or even 19, some of us may experience that our kids are just like, they seem mean or they seem like we just can't get through to them. And so what ends up happening is we end up in these emotional states. We end up in arguments with them. And it's like we expect for them to upset us. So you could literally be spending 6 or 7 years of your life just in upset mode because you're reacting to what your teenager said. I see it the most in relationships. Same thing with your lover or your husband or your wife. It's like in your mind, you just know, say, them are gonna push a button, them are gonna do something. I'm sure you can't think of the thing right now that person in your life is going to do that is going to set you off. And oftentimes you have to make decisions when you're in those moods. So the first thing you can do to check yourself is start asking yourself these questions. Do you have major decisions? Do you make major decisions when you are upset, when you're stressed out, or when you're fearful? Do you say yes or no just to avoid uncomfortable situations? Like you're upset with somebody and you don't even want them to talk to you. So as soon as them start talking and asking any question, yes. No, you can't do that. And you're just saying it because you just not even want them in your space. And then the last question you can do to check yourself if emotions are running your life. Are you constantly regretting some reactions? That's what's happening to me a lot. Like 5 years ago, I would have these reactions to my kids. And then afterwards, I just feel bad. I just feel bad. And I'm like, boy, I probably shouldn't did talk to them so hard. And I shouldn't raise my voice. And I should. So when you start to see those things happen, these are really great clues for you to know that you are being run. Your life is being run by your emotions, not by your true self. A quick way that you can shift that process is when you feel yourself getting upset, or when they do the thing, when the person does the thing that you know upsets you, you can recognize it. I know you can recognize it. So before you respond, right, just see if you can catch yourself. I sometimes will go like, you see those memes where they're like, you gotta hold it together. That's how I got into the habit of pausing before I reacted. Sometimes you need to just take a pause and about to just start talk immediately, right? And the more you get into the habit of doing that, the easier it will be for you to avoid having harsh reactions. Now, this does not take away from your need to discipline, from your need to make sure that you're standing up for yourself, for the need to make sure that your voice is being heard with your love partner. It doesn't take away from that, It's just that you're not reacting based on how you feel in that moment. You're not having an emotional response to the thing. All right? Now, another way that you can see if you are not running your life, you're overthinking everything. If you live in your mind, this is me 101. If you live in your mind, you're constantly analyzing everything, constantly planning, constantly replaying situations and scenarios that pass from whenever. Guess what? You are in intellectual overdrive, or you are stuck in a mind trap, and it's keeping you stuck. The mind is a powerful tool, but sometimes we end up being the mind servants. It's a tool. It's not supposed to run the show. It's supposed to serve you. But so many of us we can't differentiate from the mind and ourselves. We think that we and the mind is the same thing. And so you hear something, you hear a thought, and you hear it over and over again, and it's telling you this, and it's telling you that, and it's saying na. And you're just running around like a mad person, lacking that self-awareness. So some of the things that you want to do to check yourself is ask yourself these questions. Are you second guessing everything? Like you'll make a decision and then a couple minutes later or a few hours later or the next day, oh my God, why did I do that? Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should have did this, Why am I decide that? Why am I tell other people so I decide that? Why? If you're doing that, then your mind is running the show. If you struggle to trust your instincts, struggle to trust your gut, your mind is running the show. If you feel mentally exhausted because you're just constantly processing stuff that's in your head. What if this? What if that? Suppose this, suppose that. And you sit down and you talk to your mother, your sister, your auntie, your friend them about all of the what ifs. Then you're definitely stuck in overthinking. You're definitely stuck with your mind running the show. So you want to start practicing a little bit more trust in yourself and take small steps without necessarily needing to have all the answers. So trust yourself a little bit more, trust your intuition a little bit more. And just take your time with yourself. Okay? Now, the biggest sign that your mind and emotions are running your life is that you actually resist what is. And when I say what is, I mean life is happening, and every single thing that is happening around you, you have a complaint. Every single thing that is happening around you, you have a criticism. Things happening around you, you have a concern. Things happening around you is like a catastrophized. Things happening around you, you have to talk to somebody about it. So what that means is that you are not just being with life. Life is happening for every single person. It is not just happening in your space. All that's happening is the way that you are choosing to react to life may not be giving you what you need out of the journey for life. So one of the things that I really have started to do, especially since I came back from India, because the Indian guru actually talked about this quite a bit, talked about acceptance. And I would call it radical acceptance. Because when you get into that space of radical acceptance, what that means is you're not going to be reacting to every single thing that life is throwing at you and say life hard and things just now work for you and I just saw it, I just saw it stay. And you just don't get stuck in the negative rhetoric about life, because you recognize that life is happening all around. And just because you see persons who seem like they don't have the same challenges that you have, you believe that life is not experiencing, you believe that life is not being experienced the way that you are supposed to be experiencing it. So let me say that again. Just because you look around you and you see other persons not having the same challenges that you have, you sometimes feel like, their life is better than mine. But you'd be shocked at how many wealthy people are really sad and miserable because maybe they don't have the type of relationships and they don't have good vibes and love in them life. You'd be shocked at how many beautiful women, because I know women tend to compare themselves to one another, are sad and miserable because they can't have kids. But you're over here with your tree and you're mad because, oh my gosh, it's hard to feed them. Right? So everybody in life is dealing with their own stuff. And once you recognize who's running your life, then you can start taking back control of the wheel. You can start to know, be more in acceptance. And I guarantee that the more acceptance you have, the more gratitude you have, and the more you realize that your life actually has some blessings in there that you can be thankful for, the easier it is going to get for you to see the goodness in your life and to start to actually experience more goodness, more good wealth, more prosperity, good health, more love. All the different things that you feel are not a part of your experience right now is because you're not running your life. You're not in control of your life. You're allowing your emotions and your mind to control things. All right? So I want you to spend some time today. It's Saturday, so maybe it's a bit of a slower day for you. Even if you're working, it may be a slower day at work. Unless you're in retail, and that's a whole other thing. Anyway, today I want you to observe yourself. I want you to pay attention to the signs that we talked about that could indicate that your emotions are running the show. Is your mind overanalyzing? Are you resisting just plain reality? Just observe. Don't judge yourself. Don't criticize yourself. And the reason you're doing this is because awareness alone will start your life transformation. Okay? So that's it for today's tea time, guys. If this resonated with you, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And if you're on TikTok, make sure that you bring your friends along to follow me. I send out short clips from my tea time every week. So I look forward to seeing how this resonates with you. Thank you so much for joining live, guys. And I hope you enjoyed your tea, coffee, or hot chocolate. So until next time, sit mindfully, live intentionally, and always stay in your power. See you next week. Bye, guys.